Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
Hey.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's time for Moo Mammo, a weekly program dedicated to the only superhero TTRPG known to man. Prove me wrong. Hey, look who's in chat. We've got so many friends hanging out. It's like a friend-orama. Thank you, Devious. You can hear us living and breathing. How's the Devious one? Says Mastermind a Pook. Jason Cochran's here. Good. I know we do need a poll for puns. Jason knows the score. MM Dozer. All my best character concepts are pun inspired. I am really looking forward to hearing some of those examples. Because
Steve's not here to tell me no, so
that's right.
I'm
Steve's
gonna
on an away mission.
I'm gonna bust out all of my least wanted characters.
Yes, do that, because it's going to be a fantastic show. Look at this guy. Hey, it's
Hello,
Alex
heroes.
Thomas, everybody. Alex Thomas is the line lead, the mastermind of the Mutants Masterminds franchise. So it's not really a franchise, but you know what I mean.
We're franchise.
And you work with the creator, the Mutants Master Daddy.
Indeed.
Ooh, Steve Kinson, and he is not with us today. I mean, he's with us in spirit. He just he had an away mission, very important things to accomplish out in the world, and did not have time for this nonsense. And so he will be back next Monday.
Yeah, Steve is a very serious person, so I am here as your fun uncle.
He's like, please, I gotta go. I can't do this fun one. No, he had something come up, and he had to. Everything's well, all is well. He just had to, a partner in need is a partner indeed. And when someone needs picking up from the airport, that's what you do.
So since I have a captive audience, here are the characters I have for least wanted so far. Speaking of puns, I've got
least
Manatee.
Wanted. Okay, let's explain that real quick. Talking about the least wanted. What is that?
So there's a source book coming out for 4th edition Mutants and Masterminds called Most Wanted.
Yes,
which is all of the villains, all the villains you expect to see in an M&M supplement. And I keep trying to stealth drop Least Wanted, which is the least wanted villains for M&M.
Stealthy drop, you say?
Yeah, I'm wearing Steve down on the whole green light hit.
I like it.
And this would be a book about D-list pun-based supervillains and minions, which I think would be very cool.
Crucial.
Yeah.
Critical.
So we have Doomba, obviously.
Oh, yeah, Doomba. I remember Doomba.
The Doom Roomba.
Yeah.
We've got Manatee, who is a kid in a sea cow costume, a manatee costume.
Oh,
we have
I see.
His rival, Manatee, who is a wizard who uses online mana to cast his spells.
Okay, wait a minute. The Manatee and he's Manatee?
Manatee. They're both Manatee.
Oh, they are? Oh, wow.
Name.
Okay. Got it.
We have Mecha Dracula, I wrote down in my notes.
I like that. Is he drinking the oil?
No idea. I just wrote down Mecha Dracula, and we'll figure it out later.
So many ways to go with that. Fun.
And I wrote down Intrusive Thoughts as a supervillain. So.
Oh, yeah. That villain I know well.
Hell yes.
Absolutely, I do. I love that. So, maybe folks might be hanging on to some ideas of their own. I think before we popped on, we talked about my superhero, which was Touch and Go Man.
We did talk about Touch and Go.
Yeah, he's not good. He's a bad one. Not your favorite. But yeah, so in this
he's not a bad hero. He's just got a bad PR team.
That's true. And also a bad power, which is just touching people and going. I mean, we're just kind of saying, I don't know, it's touch and go. Hey, before we go any further, I refuse to take one more step until everyone likes the stream. Do me a favor, head on over to, if you're on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. If you're over on Facebook, well, do what they do over there. It's a thumb, right? Like it.
Yeah. I think
Love
this is
it.
fun.
Also, if you're over on Twitch, I think I don't know, scream into the void until something happens. Do that over there. And that way, it's like a vote. It's like a vote that says,
Yeah.
hey, listen, I am not going to pretend as though I do not know these people.
Yeah.
I'm listening and I enjoy them.
Gene Carone asks who would fight least wanted. It's actually Freedom League Milwaukee who faces off against the least wanted villains.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm trying to think of what that would look like of Freedom League Milwaukee. Probably some kind of a housewife of some sort, some kind of a cheesemonger,
Yeah, I would think
perhaps.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cheesehead definitely has to be a hero on Freedom League
Oh,
Milwaukee.
certainly. Yeah.
Even
Maybe
though I think
Mom,
that's Wisconsin. Where's Milwaukee? I'm from
Milwaukee.
Ohio. I don't know anything.
Is it in Wisconsin?
I
Milwaukee,
thought it was in
Ohio? I don't know.
Minnesota.
Milwaukee, Washington State?
I don't know.
Milwaukee. We're really good at things.
We're so good at things.
Well, the challenge is that it is in Wisconsin. There is also a Milwaukee in Oregon.
Oh.
So
Well, obviously there's two Milwaukees. Why wouldn't there be two Milwaukees?
I know, right? There's probably more than that. But listen, friends, like, share, subscribe, do all of those things because today's show is, well, who knows where we're going with it. Essentially, we're going to be diving into the vital role that humor plays in M&M. And I'm in a real weird mood because all I've had for breakfast and lunch at this point is Easter candy, which was meant for somebody else. So I'm really batting 1,000 today. I guess I guess you can say it's kind of just touch and go. It's touch and go. We'll see how we do. But yeah, we're going to dig into, like, from the player's perspective. We'll talk about, not how to necessarily land a one-liner because we're not as good at that as we'd like to think. But how to engage in that and why you want to and what the rewards will be. Rewards for engaging and being fun and having a good time. That's one of the beautiful things about Mutants Masterminds is the fact that we celebrate that. And just like we celebrate the when you make a mistake, I'm using in air quotes that you can't see. It's, these complications and things. It's a beautiful part of the storytelling and the experience for everyone around the table. And, you might find yourself with a hero point. Speaking of hero points, 2 people get a hero point for this one, for this subject. It's Paul and it's Claude, our 2 funniest audience members, friends,
true.
really family, honestly. But yeah.
Mastermind of Pook asks, I am from the flat part of the country, but I'm also from the shadow flat part of the country where you can't escape and no news gets in or out.
Oh.
The only way to leave Ohio is is by breaking Atmo. That's why we're the most astronauts.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I do like that you live in the shadow part of the flatlands. It does sound epic, but it really is just boring. Right? Paul says, I thought Touch and Go was a villain whose superpower was the ability to create emotionally moving Japanese board games. That's right. Ghost House says, I did, actually. I did. I'm missing a bit. Oh, you did? You're telling me that you did like the stream? Well, look, I'm going to see here. Obligatory, we're not worthy. Let's see. What did I miss in chat? Some stuff's going down. Eric of Norse Foundry Crew says Alex loves our one-liners.
It's true. I'm a big
Alex,
fan.
This topic comes up because we all love a good laugh. We love a good chuckle. And, I think we appreciate the bon mot. We appreciate the wit. And we really have they are very hard to, Stan, letting everyone know that the disembodied air quotes are very hard to detect. It's really more of a smell.
Yeah. You smell sarcastic. I love that.
Yeah, no sarcasm, only love. But what was I saying? What are we doing? What is this?
We're talking about funny stuff today.
Yeah, we're talking about funny stuff. And Alex, I have an appreciation for your appreciation of funny stuff. Because you like it. You like the funny business.
I do. And I like making people wonder if I thought it was funny or not. I always open my M&M games by saying hero points. I reward hero points for good role playing, jokes I think are funny, and jokes I think aren't funny. and other stuff. We don't need to talk about the other stuff, but I like having the plausible deniability of I enjoyed that joke or everybody hated that joke. Here's a hero point as a reward for punishing all of us.
Yeah, you like a good straight up funny, but you kind of like a little bit of the absurd.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah, and silly, and also just a light a dusting of kind of teasing, a friendly sort of among pals teasing, which is a love language of mine as well, just to kind of tease people a little bit.
yeah,
Is
just a little
it's
bit.
blast.
Well, that's
I
the thing, isn't
suppose.
it? We play these games to have a good time, and
Yeah,
sometimes that good time comes from the dramatic monologues and the politics of the characters, and sometimes it comes from your friend being funny or you describing something in a dumb way and nobody ever letting it go. Uh,
yeah. Well, here's a great example. Michael in chat says, and I got an Alex hero point in the first 5 minutes based on a joke. I was honored.
it's good.
That's
It was a good
exciting.
joke.
He hung out with you when what was it? A convention
Uh,
recently.
a couple weeks back at Buckeye Game Fest. It was a
Ah,
ton
that
of
was
fun.
it. Oh, it looks like Mastermind and Pooh can relate, saying that we give hero points for puns and for singing. And one of the things I got to say is I got to tell you, this. I understand why you may think that Steve is a monk, but he is the first to laugh. He loves a laugh. I love cutting it up with Steve because he definitely appreciates that. Um,
He's
this is
that
good.
Steve is that guy who's like behind like you don't know he's having a good time, but he will tell you quietly behind the scenes. That was funny.
Well, and I encourage people. He will do that for sure. But I encourage people to go back and check out some of Memos. He laughs a lot, and it's always a good time. So in Mutants Masterminds, where suffering gets rewarded, as long as you get to use the hero points to do cool stuff at the end. That is one way of interpreting what I said. I'll allow it. Let's see, maple syrup on sandpaper. I don't know what
That
that
is
is, but what a horrible.
that is the noise I described that nobody has ever let me live down in the last 10 years of game mastering.
What a heinous description. Why? When in
That
any
I
realm.
was caught up in the moment and I said the sound emanating from this thing sounds like maple syrup running over sandpaper. I don't know what that sounds like.
No,
I
but
don't
I
know what it's
really
supposed
feel
to
it.
sound like. I don't know what I thought, but every time I start going off the rails for a description, people will say that to me.
So yeah, and that's really gross. It's very upsetting. It's sticky, it's scratchy, it's not a good thing. But here's what's
Yeah.
not upsetting. Okay. One of the things that we're kind of cutting it up just because we're all in a mood, but the reality is if you go into a situation to be funny, it's you are fraught with just looming pending disaster, and either it is, as somebody who will do that on occasion just because I don't know, I've got some chemical something going on in the brain pan, and I'll be like, hey, let's be funny today, and sometimes it works, but then other times I mean, it's just people are just like, please, not another joke. And I get it. I absolutely get it. And Michael suggests something that I think is a good launching point for us to talk about humor around the table. And Michael in chat says the best humor for a table is always the self-effacing kind. Reduces chances of offending someone. Absolutely. So, yeah, there are different grains and grades of sandpaper and maple syrup, and also humor. Let's talk about what works for you, Alex, and what you try to avoid.
Yeah, I mean, I am a big fan of a good self-deprecating joke because I know I'm the only victim in that moment.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
So it's like, okay, I'm only punching at myself. I'm not punching up or down. Um,
yeah,
but
yeah,
I think you know your friends best. Um, and the goal is to have that rapport, to have that trust where you can, we're all enjoying this, we're all having a good time, and knowing when the joke moments are and when the joke moments aren't. Because
yeah.
I'm guilty of this. If I'm in a serious moment, sometimes I'll deflect with a joke, or I will I'll say the funny thing instead of trying to preserve the tone of what we're doing, and that's not always a good thing.
Yes. Okay, that's a very interesting. So let's unpack a couple of those things. I think that as people who are, we have empathy, and a lot of it. I think that people who are in the TTRPG space are just loaded with empathy. and want to take people on a journey, and they want to elicit those emotions and really have that experience. But there is a kind of a, I don't know, a downside to that, which is the notion that, here we are, if you really want to entertain, you really want to entertain, and you can just get a little intense, not just you, I mean, saying you, the
Mhm.
royal you, but all of us. And I think get lost a little bit in that relationship. And, I think we can also forget sometimes that our friends have varied emotions. You know what I mean? Like we just kind of have a
Mhm.
presumption of how they may react or interact with a particular thing. And, forcing funny is at the expense of somebody else is really the antithesis. It's just it's the antithesis to this whole experience. What do you
Yeah.
do when somebody is in that space? Because that sometimes is a place that people occupy.
Yeah. Well, a big part of your job as game master is to monitor the mood of the room and see and be able to know, okay, I think we've gone too far, or we've been in this bit for too long, we need to move on,
Yeah.
or somebody here is trying to have a really serious moment with their character. All right, just shut up for a second, everybody. Let's have a
Yeah, yeah,
moment.
yeah, exactly. Come back. Yeah.
um and a lot of that comes down in presentation. If I know a session is going to be very silly, I'll front load that for the players outside of game. Or if it's an event I'm running at a convention or something, I will load up like, this is Harley Quinn the musical. What are you expecting when you show up to play Harley Quinn the musical?
Right, right.
Um, or if I do something like, I've run games where the Justice League gets sucked into Mixer Mitch's Pitlick's D&D game, so
Yeah.
they know that it's going to be a little like, we're going to engage with some fantasy tropes. There's going to be some humor here because an imp is taking control of the situation, and we're powerless to stop it, so we might as well get swept up in the moment. Um, a lot of that expectation setting at the outset will do a lot of good to make sure everybody has the energy that they're supposed to have for this moment. And with most things as a game master, you want to produce the energy you want back, because generally your players will they'll be like, hey, this is what the GM is doing, so obviously it's okay. Or the game master is giving themselves permissions to make the funny voice or to make the joke. That means that we're probably encouraged to also participate in that manner. So setting that tone previously and then setting the behavior, showing the behavior you want to
That's
see
it,
reflected.
right. I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. It's the sharing and then the showing, the establishing it so people know for sure, and then it's not a guess, and then they let's see, Cobalt GM says player buy-in is so important in
Mhm.
comedy theme sessions, absolutely. And I want to go back to a quick comment that Stan made, which is that some of the most humorless, humor bereft games that I've ever played were so-called humorous games like Toon. And
Yeah.
Paul mentions that the funniest scenes that he's ever seen in an RPG tables were the very serious ones. And yeah, one of them was in cults.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
And that's
that works.
another that is another use of humor in a game situation, is as a
Yeah,
pressure release. Um, if you're in these serious moments, sometimes you just need a laugh. Or I've always said that humor and comedy, or horror and comedy, are kind of the opposite of the same coin, because they
yeah,
both deal with player buy-in and player expectation. And a fail state of horror can be comedy, and a fail state of some comedy can be horror if you do it wrong. Um,
right.
so it's always interesting seeing how people engage with that and how they use it in certain moments.
And also I think too, now not everybody is, equipped with funny, and sometimes people who
Mhm.
think they're super funny are not. And I think that or not as funny. Oftentimes, I think too in this context that funny is also a team sport.
Mhm.
It's not about your tight five. It's about engaging and giving the stage and really setting. Everybody needs a good setup, and
Yes.
um, and then also giving space for the person who did the thing to enjoy the laughs and to be a part of
Mhm.
that. And that's a fine, I think, dance that you got to do as the GM, but as the player as well, because it is just as incumbent upon you to help and ensure people around the table are getting an opportunity to do a thing, especially if you're, team superhero. There's a lot of opportunity there to both, kind of trample somebody, but then also to set people up to be really successful in serious or whatever they're doing, right?
Yeah, I
I
think
like,
you really need to interrogate the urge to be funny. Like, is that,
yeah.
am I being funny because I'm nervous and I
Mm,
feel like I need to say something in this moment in order to not feel nervous? Or am I saying something because I feel like we're in an awkward silence and somebody should say something? Or is this genuinely something I think the other players will get a kick out of? And is
right.
it the moment for that to happen?
And that's really
Um,
the important thing. To all the class clowns that are in the crowd, I see you,
mhm.
all 20 of you. There is there's also this question of, if you're bored or you're feeling that drift into the imp of the perverse is calling your name, it's really, these are one of the moments in life where you've got to rein it in. I mean, you've got to give people a chance to breathe and participate. And also, if you're not, and then I'm speaking to myself when I'm saying this. If you're not vibing on the humor that's at the table, that's okay.
Yeah.
Not every joke's for you,
Yeah. I
and the
think so.
people,
I think
yeah, go for it.
I think the most important thing to remember when you are at a game table is you are in that moment. Don't be the person who is just sitting there waiting for their turn to talk so you can say the funniest thing that you thought of. Like
Right.
it
Yeah.
listen, engage, be present in the moment. And when something funny it'll come to you when the moment is right. Like at least in my experience.
Yeah, yeah, and it doesn't, and again, I think that avoiding the one-upsmanship,
Mhm.
that sort of like, let's keep pushing this, and I'm gonna funny on that funny. It it can be a moment of like, it's not a competition, and it's okay to, like I said earlier, to take a break and let a person sort of have a bit of a moment of being the center of laughs. It's a wonderful place to be. It's really enjoyable. And to ask yourself, are you contributing to that moment for them, or is there a detraction? Are you kind of, sort of
Mhm.
dampening the moment? And let's see, is that intropicurity? Intropicurity. Yeah.
I think you said that right. Yeah.
I hope I did. I will do what I can to demonstrate a sense of the Emperor's New Groove sense, where there is a level of seriousness, but if there's a joke, the joke is deadpan responded to, laughs are had. Yeah, I love that. Well, and I love
Yeah.
too the moment of, so Alex, where would you define your humor as? I mean, there's all kinds of different things that make people laugh, but where are you coming from?
Um well, that's a hard thing to diagnose for yourself.
I know
Um
it's an interesting question. Yeah.
I I'm a huge fan of the absurdity of normal,
Yes.
where
Yeah.
presenting something that is normal in the most absurd means possible, either a big acronym, a just completely just literal explanation of what is happening in the most obtuse way possible.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I love absurdity. That's one of my big things. I've been working on an RPG project where I've been allowed to go wild with that. So I I can't talk about it, but it's been
Fun.
fun getting to delve into that part of my brain and the chaos. Um, I love a good bit. I love sarcasm. I love a pun.
I
I
think
really just like having a good time.
you do. You really do. And you also like to see other people having a good time, which it's a very
Mhm.
participatory kind of humor that you put out there. I want to say, when I think of your humor, it's kind of winky.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, you get it? I mean, that kind of fun thing. And what I love about it too is it's accessible in the context of playing a TTRPG. It's accessible by anybody around the table, and we're all kind of, when we're in an Alex Thomas adventure, there's going to be some there's going to be something that's funny, there's going to be something that's kind of whoa, and something that is maybe even terrifying, but everybody gets a chance to take a crack at it, which I just love.
Yeah, and that's what I also love, setting things up for other people to knock down. Like that's another very good.
Yeah.
The alley oop is a great tool for a game master
Oh,
because your
you
players
describe
will
the
go in
alley oop.
like throwing up a line that you know somebody is going to spike, either saying something that could be taken in a certain funny
Double
manner
entendre
that
kind
you'll
of.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or picking a word that you know is going to get a reaction from people, like moist or penetrating always comes up. Just lots of there are little things that you know people are going to like snicker at
Yeah.
as a GM. And doing that on purpose and then making it seem like you didn't do it on purpose, I think, is a great thing.
That is an excellent tool. Michael in chat talks about there being okay, if a joke falls flat or it isn't for you, the worst part of a bad joke is someone else joke explaining it. Unless there are times when that can work in a real obnoxious way, but that's
Yep.
a flavor that should be rare. But I'm also thinking as well that self-effacing humor is not about abusing
Mhm.
yourself. It's not about running gravel through your hair and gnashing your teeth. It's also not about trotting out your it's not about kind of table trauma dumping. It's about just acknowledging the everyday foibles and sort of saying, oh my gosh, this is me. I did, or my character, like, I can't roll it. The dice are against me, or that kind of stuff. That's self-effacing and
Yeah.
approachable, and everyone shares in that reality, right? I mean, everybody kind of has a bad day, or
Yeah.
can speak to something that is a light bruising, not a punch to the face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's I think that one thing most game masters will benefit from is they're playing with their friends. So there is that sort of like there's already that rapport established, there's already that trust established where you all presumably share a sense of humor because you're friends.
Yeah.
Um, it's a little harder in situations where you're game mastering for people you haven't met before.
Okay. Talk about
Like if you're
that. Yeah.
doing a convention game. And I find that it helps when you're setting things up to have a little bit of humor and to have a little bit of that, sort of easygoing feeling, because that'll make the players who haven't met you like, oh, okay, this person's probably going to be fun to play with.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know them, they've at least attempted to throw a few nuggets of something funny in. Like when I'm introducing Eminem, I always start with when I'm looking at the character sheet, I'm like, oh, strength is how big of a tomato you can pick up. Stamina is how poisonous a tomato you can eat. Agility is how fast you can pick up a tomato. Dexterity is how accurately you can throw a tomato. Fighting is how well you could smash a tomato into somebody's face. Intellect is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Awareness is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. And presence is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad as salsa or ketchup.
Very clever. I like it. That's
But that's something I
fantastic.
practiced over and over and over again. So it comes off. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
I'm just doing a bit. It feels like
Well,
something that I've said a
exactly.
lot.
It's part of the patter, right? It's part of the,
Mhm.
sort of that energy. And Cobalt's talking about how do you develop a sense of humor with strangers, and
Yeah,
the only way to do it. Go for
having
it,
some good
please.
patter is
Yeah,
great. It gives you something that you can lean on, that so that I'm going to say this thing, and
yeah.
it lets you focus on the delivery of that and sounding confident. That confidence is one of the best ways to develop the beginning of a sense of humor with people.
But and there's
If
only one
you
way to get there.
practice,
You hanging out with strangers,
yeah, talking
doing
in a
it.
mirror.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, really, really, just spending time doing the thing, because you want to prepare as much as anything, that you want to do in front of a group of people you don't know. But to get
Yeah.
good at it, you got to hang out with them. You got to do it.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
there are things you can lean on in the genre that we play in. Like if you play superhero games, you know that the people coming to play in your superhero game probably have a shared lexicon of references.
oh
So
yeah,
when
yeah,
I'm describing, like, if you want to edit the scene, you could be like, "Oh, look, I'm dangling from a helicopter. I've got the bat shark repellent up in the helicopter. Here's the hero point." Or um, finding things that you can reference that they'll know are funny, or they'll know is a joke, and it helps establish the tone of the adventure you're going to be running.
yeah, yeah. And also
Um,
gives them the clue as to who you are.
yeah.
Like for instance, I'm looking at Dozier 100, who says, I just ran a game session at a whaling museum, and naturally there was much taco semen. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, the it's like seaward ho kind of thing, like, all the fun that you can have with, celebrating the maritime culture and the great historical importance that it plays in America. I see that. Hilarious stuff. Let's see. Oh, yeah, there are specific popular tropes as well. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, look for superhero things that are funny that you can reference, that other
Sure.
people have seen. Like if there's a joke in an Avengers movie that you think is really funny, like "Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep," when Iron Man's punching the Hulk in the face, um, or we're get help. We're not going to do get help. And then you have that reference immediately. Like, okay, we're doing that. We know what we're going on. Cobalt also brings up jokes that crack you up before you even tell it. Yeah, telling things that make you laugh. Like, say the things that make you laugh. You're just trying to show them who you are
Yeah,
and give them the chance to buy into playing with you.
absolutely. Michael in chat talks about the early Giffen Justice League balanced the humorous interpersonal relationships with the serious superheroics in later issues when it went JLI. They went all humor. And I agree that the silly, goofy stuff, the DC really, I think, did it particularly bad. But, Marvel also was not very good at the funny stuff. Like, even though the cast of heroes from, you look back in history are weird, like, ballpoint pen man and, a running boy and all this other weird stuff. There's a corniness that I'm not a fan of, but again, not if it's not my humor, that doesn't necessarily mean it's not funny. I mean, like, there are some people who may really appreciate that, which was important for me to learn growing up, for sure. Let's see. Also, Mutants Masterminds one shot where players got to be guest heroes. The group immediately knew popular tropes familiar at a con. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
finding
really,
that shared language is the easiest way to start developing a humor rapport with somebody.
And part of it is it's not humor for humor's sake, right? I mean, it's humor for a purpose, and that's uniting and bonding, and then kicking some villain ass, right?
Yeah, it can be the humor. Like, I often use humor in my sessions to help people feel comfortable with getting into the story, knowing that I'm a safe space to just be silly, because that's what we're here for. And it's not always immediately apparent when you sit down at a game table if it's going to be a place that you can have fun, which is weird to say because we're playing a game to have fun.
Yeah,
you can meet a game master who just seems very serious and very dour and not open at all to, like, anything that you're saying as a player, and that, sometimes you just bounce off somebody. But I find that it helps establish the idea that we're all here together and we're all going to have a good time, instead of you're here to play with me, we're all here to play together. Like, that's the big, because we're here to have fun, we're here to tell a story, and we're here to make memories that people can talk about for years to come.
Right. And to contribute in, again, this group exchange of joy. And sometimes that joy comes in a moment like, so let's talk a little bit about using humor. I was going to say human, using the humans for food. No, I'm kidding. Using
Delicious.
humor as a way of sort of a pressure release valve.
Yeah, it's then that's a tricky balance to walk, because you don't want to suck all the energy out of what just happened.
Yeah.
There are dramatic moments that need a pause. They need to soak up that sort of feeling, because that was the intention of the scene. But there are also serious moments that can benefit from just a zingy one-liner at the end of it.
That's all right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can all relax. We can move on to the next thing. It's almost like a palette set. Like, we had that moment. We've let that moment breathe. Let's move on to the next thing.
Let's reset the mind, and yeah.
Leave whatever that was back there until it comes up again to be traumatic.
So there was really a Golden Age hero called the Red Bee. He had a pet bee and was not supposed to be a pun character. Okay, well, I find that hard to believe. We're talking about puns, but I think the reason why puns are the universal language of I'm friendly, let's have fun, and and can be appreciated by the teller in terms of the exchange rate on groans, and other people might go, yes, that's exactly, and I love that whole cacophony of stuff, and puns kind of hold a very special place in that world, because you can be open and honest about how bad it is, and the person's like, yeah, it's bad.
And a lot of people who go, ugh, are really enjoying it on the inside
and filing it away for later use. Yeah, it is a very fun exchange of sort of faux anger and end up being upset, and or people just being like just triumphant, and I think that's really fun kind of a deal. And we talked about humor as sort of a venting, a valve, a shift, a change in the palate, a kind of refresher. Are there times that what do you do in a funny moment and you like have you ever been caught up in a moment where you didn't mean to be funny? Like you say, I think
No, I
religious...
always mean to be funny. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm just so natural at it that I just know. But I mean, you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's been a situation that I presented that I wanted to be serious that everybody thought was a joke. Troy, I'm the guy who made his party get betrayed by a sentient toaster. Like
that's true. That is true. You're very unserious. No.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
that's the funny thing is I nestle the serious in the absurd, and then they're like, "What happened? We were having a good time."
Exactly. There's been a tone shift.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's possible for jokes not to land.
Yeah.
Usually, the worst state of that is no response at all, like no reaction. Which, as somebody who edits his own podcast, I hate when that happens because I tell a joke and then nobody reacts, and then I've got to wait for the silence to be over and hit clip and cut the silence. That's very humbling.
Yeah.
But I think and honestly, this sort of falls also into the idea of game masters don't know what the players are going to do. So you could present a situation that you intend to be funny and is taken deathly serious. You could present a situation that could be serious and be funny.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
You just sort of have to go with the player's reaction.
Yeah.
There is I never have an intended result when I present something, generally speaking. My intended result is for the players to react, and then I react to that.
Yeah.
So if I do present something and I think it's going to be funny and then it's not, I'm like, okay, it's not funny. What are they feeling instead? And then work with that to try to keep us on track.
Right. And even there are moments, I think you can pause and say, I'm not going to say another word until you laugh. No, I'm kidding. If you just say like, if there's a shift or the emotional tone isn't landing, it's okay to pause and talk outside of that moment and say, how we doing? Let's do a quick check-in. Are we feeling the vibe? Is there something that's not cooking? Because I find oftentimes when people don't laugh at a thing that you meant to be funny, because even if it's not that funny, people go, like they'll give you something. But if they give you nothing, something's up. Like there's something not quite gelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's important even just to acknowledge it, and also as somebody who tries to not do this, but every once in a while you'll say something that you think is really funny, but then it has a different connotation with somebody else, and they're just like, okay, that's really rude, or and frankly, you don't know what people are dealing with that day. It could be a lot of different things. So a check-in, I think, is always really important, just especially if you're not feeling the connect. Devious would like you to start using laugh tracks on your podcast. I would like you to as well.
Oh, got it.
Devious and I will record it for you.
Got it.
It'll be fun. Let's see. The Max was one of my most was one of the most funny movies. The Max.
Oh, The Mask.
The Mask. I'm sorry, Gene. Yeah, of course. And I don't care for that movie. It's not my humor. Okay, this is what I always do.
Not every humor is for everybody.
That's exactly right. And you know what? And I think, I don't know who said this or where it actually came from, but you hear it in all walks of life. And it's the notion of don't yuck someone else's yum.
Yeah. If
they're having a good time and they're laughing at the thing, then let them laugh. All that stuff. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, Quinta suggests that you use a laugh track. Use a very bad one, and that's why Devious and I are going to record one for you. It'll be bad, for sure.
Just laughing off time, just like staggered laughter,
or just one person barked laughing so loud, like in an empty hall. I like that. I was crowned best laugh in Columbus by the GM of the WCBE.
Wow.
The recordings are out there somewhere. Wow. Best laugh. You were crowned even. So you're like the king of best laughs?
Michael does have a pretty good laugh. I got to hear him at Buckeye Game Fest
Yeah, he's a good guy. He is a good
because I
guy.
presented an absurd situation where they had to escort a teenage boy out of the Big Belly Burger to fight Martians in the bathroom. It was great.
Oh wait, you're talking about the actual game. I was like, I could see this happening, in a city. But yeah, fantastic. Now because I was raised on MASH and Muppet Show. Yeah, oh, I'm absolutely. I mean, I wasn't a MASH guy, but Muppet Show, I love that. And Carol Burnett is the best. Absolutely. Okay, so where are we at on this conversation? For the GMs in the space that are like, how now I got to be funny, or I got to try to do puns, or I got to uh, give them some advice on embracing this, kind of new bit of business.
Sorry, Rebellious Moose just dropped the funniest.
I ran an M&M one shot for some friends. There was alcohol. Mr. Mixelplick was the surprise villain, and I, in character, had him tell the players they wouldn't get him to say, okay. There you
And
go.
then he went away.
Then he went
I
away.
love when that happens.
I love that. Good laughs all around, even if my plans were ruined. That's the other thing, too. Humor comes from the reason why things can be so funny in a serious moment is when, you're just like, if something bad happens and you roll with it, it is funny. It's joyful. It's and it feels good to kind of see people kind of maneuver through, even if it's their own sort of if they're hoist by their own petard. Let's see.
I love when my players get me. Like when I say something that I was like, oh no, that was a bad call, and then they immediately are like, haha, we got you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got a lot of people who've been voted best laugh.
Well, obviously, the M&M community is hilarious.
They are very funny. That is very, very true. But the other thing that's interesting is that the funniest person isn't always the one laughing.
That's true.
I mean, there is that kind of attack to take too, if you're so inclined to be that entertaining. But there is that sort of deadpan reaction when you know that you're the straight man in this particular moment, which I think is a really fun role to play. Yeah, I don't, Stan. I wouldn't, especially if you plan on any hoisting, because you might do it to yourself. What is a petard? Dare I ask?
I think it's an article of clothing, isn't it?
It feels like it should be a jockstrap or something. What is a petard? Chat, what is a petard? You're my Google. It's a small bell-shaped explosive device used historically in 16th and 17th century siege warfare to breach walls, gates, or doors. So it's a little bit more...
you blow yourself up.
Yeah, unless I'm tangled up in my fancy, warrior underwear, and I've just blown my head off. Nuts. Yeah, absolutely. So I cannot believe this, but we are nearing the 45-minute mark. Doesn't it seem like we just started this conversation?
Well, that's the funny thing.
That's the funny thing about this. It's touch and go. Okay, so when it comes to straight humor, when you're creating, like, do you find that it is? Do you ever just create something that is like an engagement or an adventure where it's just pure laughs?
Oh yeah. I've run lots of adventures that are just meant to be hilarious. We talked about Doomba. I've run a group called the Gotham City Misfits, which is all Z-list villains who.
Yeah.
The whole premise of the adventure is they've been invited to participate in the combat on World for. It was some absurd number. It was like 9,765,300 some million and 65 cents worth of Earth dollars to participate in this tournament. And Killer Moth receives the email, and he goes out. They don't have a spaceship. They have to steal a spaceship. They find their way to World, and when they get there, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, that email was for Killer Frost, not Killer Moth. Our bad."
I love it. I love Doomba was hilarious. Just an angry little robot who just wants to destroy the world, but really is not that effective.
Yeah, everybody who's ever played Doomba cracks me up.
I was the first person to play Doomba.
Yeah,
that was fun. That was really fun.
So
a lot of fun.
Harley Quinn the musical is a blast. I've done many Harley Quinn adventures just with the animated series cast of characters
Yeah,
because I love them and I want more stories in that universe. I mean, it's the universe where Bane turned into a kaiju and screwed a skyscraper. It's great.
like screwed it up or had
No, like took it out for
relations.
Valentine's Day.
Oh dear. Well, okay.
It was the Valentine's Day special for that.
Oh my. Okay. Well,
Um,
Bane, you are yeah, you're troubled.
yeah, I saved
Yeah,
Bane as my NPC for that game because I love him so much. He's such a menace.
he is a menace. Absolutely. Yeah, that is a good life
Um,
goal. Mastermind Pook says his life goal: play Doomba. Very funny.
I will
Who else is on
run
that
more
list?
Doom games.
Who else is in that? I'm trying to remember the other villains that were in that.
Oh, I had Killer Moth and the Bouncer, who was an idiot chemist who covered himself in a bouncing material. He was in one Batman comic, and Batman kicked him into the sewer until he died. Like that's the
Oh,
beginning and end of the Bouncer.
wow, that's
Um,
rough. Yeah, yeah.
I made Penny Plunderer 2, who is the daughter of the original Penny Plunderer, who just really wants everybody to know that the penny in the Batcave is for her dad, not Two-Face. Um, yeah, just a whole cast of, and that's finding. If you're trying to design a game that is meant to be funny, give every character a bit, um, something that they can lean on as a shorthand for comedy. If the player themselves is not particularly, quick-witted or overly imaginative, not in a bad way. Just some people take some a minute to figure out what's my
Yeah,
way
yeah.
in
And
on
there's so
this.
much getting comfortable, and I mean, everybody can be funny if they're comfortable enough.
Yeah, Gene, Kite Man, and Condiment King are both in that group of characters as well. Um, which be prepared for puns if you have somebody play Condiment King. That is 100% the kind of character who is going to start a whole pun off between everybody at the table, and they'll go until you cut them off. Like,
I love it. I love it.
yeah, they relish the opportunity to dive into condiment puns.
Devapus, which is of course the the devious octopus villain, Devapus.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it. Oh, the
Divapus.
cartoon out now. Bat Fam is absolutely hysterical. I'm not familiar with that. Is that another Batman?
It's out on Prime. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it is It's a new comedy Batman cartoon.
I'll have to watch that. Very fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also love the running jokes. Super. Yeah, this is always a good one.
Mhm.
Super's like Carl the Undying. He sucks as a hero, but he tries so hard and always dies in hilarious ways. I guess that's
Yeah.
another fun thing to do is to pick a bit, right? To pick a kind of a thing that you do and sort of and play all of the angles, like, oh, here we go again, here's this, or I'm going to win and you don't, like that kind of a thing is really it opens the door for some fun engagement.
Yeah, and it's permission. It's people are like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Recently, I started implementing achievements like in Dungeon Crawler Carl for some of my M&M games because they were in a death game similar to Dungeon Crawler Carl, and occasionally Toon would hand out achievements to the characters, which were really just fun ways for me to be like, look at this funny thing you did and highlight it. I'll post one in chat, but I did the Daedalus Savior. Wait, why is this even an achievement? At this point, everyone in Earth Prime has saved a Daedalus in distress. Never mind, I'm taking this back.
That's great. I love it. And that is kind of our shared, long-standing, trope of Daedalus, the damsel in distress. Let's see.
I know it's made such an impact that Steve felt the need to call it out in the Prime articles on the
It's
Atomic
so
Think
good.
Tank.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. The Windbreaker.
Amazing.
That is great.
Yeah. What else did I did? I did the
Yeah.
legalized 8-ball for their pool game that they had to play. I said most superheroes have to deal with a different kind of 8-ball. Good for you finding a clean way to have fun.
Very funny. Beware villains, Windbreaker is here. Yes, indeed. Let me see here. This is a good one too. I think we're talking about Condiment King. Who is it? Who's the
Condiment
villain?
King, yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Condiment King.
Holy song, the zone petard.
Well,
I love that sauce. Um, okay, I love this. So let's talk about, are there any kind of tools or any sort of things that can help with this? The sharing and the encouraging and cultivating of humor.
I think the biggest thing I can say is don't force it. Um, you know, people can tell when it's not authentic, and you know, let it happen naturally. Like
Yeah.
over time, your group will develop running jokes. They'll develop like that thing. They'll just have lines that you can say to each other and immediately make each other crack up, or they'll notice situations that pop up in your game multiple times, which is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Um, like I don't know how this happened, but in Guardians of Haven, the joke is Alex, you're not allowed to eat the player characters because for some reason, the first couple of adventures I had monsters that kept trying to eat the heroes, and
I
going
love
into
it.
season 2, they were like, "We do not want to be eaten this season. Please do not make monsters that eat us."
I think it's great. I do love that too, that juxtaposition when, you know, 'cause you are known for introducing absurd moments that are fun, but a little tense and, you know, that really
Yeah.
have, that there's some stakes involved. But it's always such a good time. And I think that you are a great example of incorporating humor to the benefit of everybody that sort of lifts up the group, that everyone participates. I do want to say this to folks. If you are, I know that there are people out there that are just like, they don't like to be tricked or they don't enjoy a prank or and I'm somebody, I hate pranks. They're
Well, I
not
think
fun. I don't
a
like
lot of
them.
people don't do pranks right because the goal of a prank is for everyone to laugh at the end,
And
not
not
just
to
people
make one
laughing at the
person
person
feel
who's the
like, you
victim.
know, they're losing their mind and, you know, any of that stuff. But there is a thing that happens out there in the world. Um, it's like a wet blanketism. It's sort of this like, that person's trying to be funny. I'm going to smother it. I'm going to refuse. I'm going to tell them to, because I've gotten to the punchline before they did. I'm going to, you know, I've got the jig is up. I figured it all out. No, don't do that. Just let it roll. Enjoy, have fun. Don't, you know, don't gatekeep the act of humor in the room.
Yeah.
Think of some other advice or thoughts for folks. We're just about ready to be done. I can't believe it.
It happens. I don't know how this happens all the time.
It does. Well, it's like time just keeps on slipping into the future. We're in the slowest time machine ever, and we can only go
One
forward.
second. One
Yeah.
second at a time. Relax.
So, Alex, let's do this. We don't have a Steve, and so we've got some time to talk about, like, what are you doing this week? What's on your, aside from, you know, whoever you're texting right now?
Yeah. So I have this evening, I'll be doing my office hours, which
Yes.
are we are going to be working on an adventure for Titan City for the convention I've got in 2 weeks. So
Nice.
probably just designing a scene. So come hang out if you want to see how I build a scene.
Ooh, I love it.
And then we'll be playing some games, doing some fun stuff. We could still delve into least wanted poll. We got time. But the Titan City Serials podcast is on Thursday. And I'll be back for Birds of a Feather, where I'm playing Elvis Pexley on Thursday night.
Oh, you got to love Elvis Pexley. That's good stuff. Now, your office hours tonight, that happens in an hour from now?
About a half hour from now.
About a half hour. Okay, so yeah, 4:30 Pacific and whatever that is in your time zone.
I'll
Awesome.
also be if you are looking in for Valiant Adventures, the contest the voting right now for the Dust Jacket is going on the Atomic Think Tank. So go check that out.
It's on the in the Atomic Think Tank and over on the Kickstarter backer kit.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Kickstarter.
Yeah, Kickstarter. So check that out. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, that's a good set of stuff. Alex, thank you for hanging out and Sharon, you know, you are a joy to play games with. You are a lot of fun. You love a good joke, but you love a good camaraderie. And I'm a fan of that. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah. It's the bomb.
All right. Ciao, my friend. We'll let you go. We're going to move into here shortly what's in the tank, but look at this. You want to join the Grad. The Grad is the Green Ronin Atomic Assembly Discord. It's the official Discord of Green Ronin, and you can go to this fancy link. It literally, legitimately is Green Ronin. It's greenronin.io. So it's greenron.in/Discord. Greenronin Discord. Yeah. So check it out. Hang out. We're going to be we've got so much planned. It's kind of amazing, frankly, the stuff that we've got planned. And that's with our friends in the Cape and Cow Club, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But I do want to talk about Thursday. We are bringing on Anna B. Meyer. Anna is a dear friend of mine, somebody that I've gotten to know over the course of the last couple of years. True delight and an incredible talent. When it comes to maps, Anna B has got it down. And you might recognize her work. She's done stuff for D&D and is just ubiquitous. I think we'll get all the history and stuff when we sit down and talk with her. And she helps us figure out what we're going to do with the map of the Slumberer's Burden, which is the interior of a dragon. What? It's a lot of fun. We're hanging out with our good friend Ren LeBeau, as well as the Duke in Purple. And we're designing a whole world. And the people in chat are the arbiters. They get to help us with some feedback and thoughts and all that good stuff. And then later from after Thursday, which starts 3 p.m. Pacific on Thursday, we go to my office hours, which is nearly every Thursday night, pretty much but once in a while something pops up, 5 p.m. Pacific. And you come and hang out with us. It's a Zoom chat. And you can hang out and you can lurk. You've got questions. Maybe I've forgotten to do something for you. If that's the case, stop by and we'll fix it. Get Tanked with Troy on Thursdays, 5 p.m. Pacific. All you have to do is go to the Atomic Think Tank, which is our community hub. Look at this. This is the Green Ronin community calendar for March. 1 day left. And I don't think we've got anything planned that day, but look at April. Lots of stuff going on. Really looking forward to April. It's going to be a fun month with just a ton of stuff for everybody, including what's going on in the Atomic Think Tank. And we bring on our good buddy Devious because we like to talk about what's in the tank, don't we, buddy? Where are you? There you are. Ba-ba-bum. Hi, buddy.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the show. We're talking about what's in the tank.
Hey, cool. I happen to, know a few things about what's going on in the tank.
Ooh, share it.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. First of all, we have What's in the Tank March 30th. We have 2 new articles. One of them is by the lovely and talented and oh so delightful Paul Rua, laying down the foundations where to start with city building for your campaign. He's got a lovely article here. Basically goes over, so you decided to build a city.
Cute.
He goes over a lot of great pointers about setting everything up and getting player input. So I think it's a really fantastic read if you want to set up everything for your city. I have an article on Be a Hero, Not a Doormat. Basically another one of my Grand Theft articles, where I take a YouTube that's kind of oriented more toward that other ampersand game and kind of reorient it for Mutants and Masterminds. Basically looking at the system there. Basically, it's how you can be more proactive because player agency, it's not all up to the GM. If they're going to give you the room, you need to fill that space. You need to go ahead and take that up and do the things that you need to do. A typical thing that normally happens, loud player acts first, GM responds to what's happening, you wait for quote unquote your moment,
and the moment passes you by. Yeah,
exactly, because you need to speak up and get that going. But also, if you remember, we had a contest last week. Or basically, remember, all you had to do was enter into the Aegis files a character. That was all that you needed to do.
Yeah.
And we have a winner, but it was very close was very close because out of all the it was just Matt Mabry.
Good. All right, Matt, you win. You win.
Okay.
What were we giving him? A PDF?
Yeah, Matt Mabry, you've won another one. I think he has the library by now.
Nice.
But anyway, of course, for Mumemo, we have today's episode. We have Alex Thomas's office hours.
What is the
up in
most boring
30 minutes.
office right there, by the way? It looks like it's an office from the 80s.
Pretty much. I was surprised there wasn't like a little disc,
Where's the magnet?
2.5 inch
Yeah, that's right. A
floppies.
little floppy disk. And where are the magnets on the little, the little silver balls on the end of the string? Yeah, clacking
Oh,
back
there
and
you
forth.
go. I was expecting Clippy to pop up at any moment in this one here.
Are you
Okay,
trying to
we
make
need to
a
stop
flyer for your
razzing
meeting?
Alex. Okay. Titan City is up Thursday. We've got a new episode, Graveyard Shit, episode 3, Past the Talking Stick. Heroes spend time in the Moonshine Library and find some information worth an arm and a leg. I wonder if there's a meaning behind that. And we meet Stony for the first time, and that would be Wiki's character. We have Birds of a Feather. Now this is the same as it was last week because unfortunately Aunt Peppy wasn't feeling well and they had to cancel. So it's the same episode as last week. We have, of course, Office Hours with you, Troy, coming up.
That's me.
On Monday. That's right. On Monday, we have It Takes One to Hunt One, which is the PL4 podcast. Brandon Brewer doing his thing and putting together a podcast. It's got the actual first episode coming up for us. So he's basically, his previous episodes have been revealing characters, but now this is the first actual play episode where they actually play it. And of course, no Mumemo next week. Because
that's right. Holiday. We're taking a little. We're taking a little break.
So have a hoppy. Nope, not going to do that pun.
I like it.
So that, just so you know, is what we have in the tank. And I think I saw on the calendar the society meeting, but we're not having that this weekend.
I don't know, probably not, but we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll update everybody on what's cooking as far as that goes. Great show.
But that is what is in the tank, sir, and
I appreciate it.
I hope everybody has a fantastic bunny day and a fantastic bunny weekend.
That's true. Yes, and just a fantastic bunny life.
Fantastic bunny existence.
Riley Davis says the man who survived both mustard gas and pepper spray is now a seasoned veteran.
Ow.
Yeah. Well, friend, I'm glad to see you. Glad you popped in. Appreciate that.
No worries.
A great deal. That, I think, leaves us with only one thing.
What's that?
I think we just have to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you, well, not next Monday, but we'll see you at Thursday, perhaps, huh? All right. Goodbye now.
Come on by. See ya.